After the harrowing warning from the warriors of the future, our heroes have begun their training journeys, preparing for the inevitable battle with Eggman and Jiro for the fate of their universe. The heroes have decided to split into different teams to train in, hoping to get to know certain allies' different fighting styles. That way, they're prepared for the very worst. Gohan has been training with his father and Piccolo, with those two being able to draw out more and more of his hidden potential. They've seen glimpses of Gohan's rage flare up, especially on Namek, where his power could increase hundreds-fold with what appeared to be chaos energy. Piccolo could easily sense the chaos energy within Gohan, due to, being chaos, doing his best to try and work out that power naturally, as maybe he could access the chaos power just like Sonic did on Namek as well. As they spar, Gohan is beaten around a lot and gets slammed right into the ocean. As he struggles to try and pull himself out, he feels something sticking out within the sand underwater. He swims down to get a closer look and sees a robotic hand sticking out. Gohan grabs the hand and pulls out as hard as he can to yank the robot out of the ground. He drags it to shore and watches as its eyes light back up. Gohan jumps back as the robot struggles to stand. Gohan can see it trying its hardest, so walks over to help it up. He's surprised to find that the robot accepts his help, and he's able to get it to its feet.
I'm Gohan. Do you have a name?
The robot speaks out in some weird scatterbrained language that Gohan can't put together. However, the only thing Gohan can understand is the word Emerl. Emerl begins to sputter some more as his body gives out from under him. Gohan yells out for Goku and Piccolo to come and help him, with the two flying down to see the robot. Obviously, Piccolo is extremely cautious of Emerl, but Goku just walks right up to help him and his son. They're not quite sure what they can do here, so Goku just pulls them all in close to him, and he instant transmissions them all to Tails' lab. Tails screams out scared shitless as he falls over. Sonic laughs helping Tails up, with Goku apologizing for scaring him. Gohan explains to them all how he found this robot underwater near Emerald Coast, and he thinks its name is Emerl, but that's all he could make out before his body gave way. Tails listens understanding and is intrigued by the robot, never seeing anything like it. He hooks him up to a table to do some tests to figure out what's going on. As they're all waiting, Goku and Sonic understandably get bored, so go outside for some quick sparring. Tails and Gohan work together on Emerl, with Tails discovering something interesting. He asks Piccolo if he could perhaps transform into his Chaos form, with Piccolo wondering why, but trusting Tails. He transforms, with Emerl immediately coming back online and sitting up. He sticks his hand out towards Piccolo, with Piccolo getting into a fighting stance. However, Emerl just turns his head, and his body begins to slowly repair itself. He gets off the table and stares out at Piccolo, nodding his head in thanks.
You're welcome.
I knew it. His readings were giving off that of chaos energy, but that his reserves were depleted. Apparently, this guy runs off of chaos energy. Just being in contact with somebody with that energy can power him up.
Is that really a good thing, though? If a robot is powered off of chaos energy, who else do we know that could have made it?
Egghead.
Exactly.
I don't know. This doesn't look like Egghead's usual designs. This bolt brain here ain't exactly attacking us either, particularly me or Goku.
Emerl turns to look at Sonic, and echoing Tails' voice in a way, says that he needs Chaos Emeralds. Then he echoes Sonic's voice, saying attacking makes him very strong.
Do you mean fighting? Because if fighting makes you stronger, then I am your guy.
Emerl echoes Goku's voice and mannerisms, saying fight. He then goes in to punch Goku, with Goku just smiling and blocking his attack, though he finds it stings his arm a lot. Emerl throws another punch with Goku dodging and nailing his own in his chest. Emerl squeals out as he flies back into the lab.
Goku, we just fixed him. Go easy on him.
He said to fight him. What else was I?
Emerl bursts out in the blink of an eye, nailing Goku in the chest, punching in exactly the same stance Goku did right before. Goku coughs out, stumbling back holding his chest. Emerl, despite being blown back into a wall, somehow looks more repaired than he did before. He was right, fighting really does make him stronger.
Again, guys, is this really a good thing? He could still be another Eggman scout robot.
Emerl turns to Piccolo, saying he's not Eggman. However, he says that in a tone of voice that none of them have ever heard before.
Wait a second. I remember now. Back when we were on the Nocturnal ship with Shade and Julie Sue. There were a bunch of these guys lying around. When they invaded her too, they thought I may have taken out a few.
He's right. They were on that ship. He must be a leftover of that crew.
It may go even further back than that. According to this data I've gotten from him, Emerald may be well over 4,000 years old.
From the Nocturnes. That explains it.
See? You were worried for nothing, Piccolo.
Emerl then begins to speak up more on emeralds. He needs emeralds, the Chaos Emeralds. They begin to ask why he would need them, with Emerald's reply that he will become himself again. He will be whole. As he says this, his body begins to slowly rust some more, as the wear and tear grows back. It appears he needs chaos energy to function, and without it, he'll rot away. Gohan says they can't let that happen. He can feel that Emerl isn't a bad person, and maybe they can just try with one emerald right now. Emerl says no, he needs all 7 to be complete, which makes the others all weary. They just met him, so they're really not sure if they can trust him with all 7 emeralds. However, Sonic and Goku stick right up for him. As it begins to turn into an argument, they all suddenly hear a weird swarm around them, with a bunch of badniks coming in to invade the village. Sonic turns and groans.
There have been a lot more badniks showing up all over the place lately. Egghead's way of toying with us, letting us know he's still away plotting. He has no idea how much we've been spoiled on the script.
There's a lot of badniks out here, Uncle Sonic. Emerald and I can take them out for you.
The group decide that maybe it could be a good idea to get Emerl used to the cause of getting rid of badniks, as maybe he could be a useful member in the android battle coming up if he turns out to really be a good guy. Tails pulls out one of his Chaos Emeralds, trusting Emerl enough to give it to him. Emerl takes it and absorbs its power, exploding in energy. Emerl yells out that he feels great. He tells Gohan to follow him, and Gohan yells out excitedly as they fly off. Emerl and Gohan go off to battle badniks, with Emerl using Goku's fighting style at first to take them out, but then slowly adapting to Gohan's. As they go through the island to clear out badniks, the two gain a good synergy, with their team attacks taking out all the badniks in the area. Emerald's power has increased by a lot, so most of the badniks are blown out of town in no time. Gohan laughs with the two jumping up into the air to high-five.
Kid after my own heart. He's been keeping sharp, hasn't he?
He's getting stronger every day. I think with enough time, he'll surpass me real fast. He's getting better than you.
Hey, you know I was never the best martial artist out there. After all, Sonic's the name. Speed's more my game.
Speed may not help you when he tanks every attack you got.
Watch it there, buddy.
Emerald's gotten a lot stronger just in fighting these badniks alone. The civilians thank them all for their help, with Gohan getting a pretty good taste for this hero stuff. Emerl begins to go on about how he's really strong with one emerald, but he needs the others to function still, with Gohan telling the group that he thinks he deserves to get at least one more emerald after that. Piccolo is still against it as they need all 7 emeralds in hand for what's coming next with Eggman and Jiro. However, Emerl puts his hand on his chest saying that he's not complete. He needs them to become his true self again. With Emerl pushing about his true self, Goku suddenly gets a flashback of Silver telling him about a creature that wanted to find its true self or something like that. Why did he remember that all of a sudden? Emerl couldn't be this creature that they were talking about, right? But maybe he is. They said they couldn't interfere, but they did say to ask them if he needed anything important. This could be important, so he just might as well ask. He doesn't want to worry the others too much yet as it's just a hunch, so he just asks for a picture of Emerl with Gohan. Goku, the professional photographer, takes their picture and says that Chi-Chi's gonna love it. He's gonna go bring it back to show her now, and they can just chill out here. Goku puts the picture in his pocket and flies off to go to Never Lake to visit Trunks and Silver. After Goku leaves, Amy and Shadow pull up in Amy's car.
Why are Rosebud and the ultimate grumpy cat traveling together in a car?
Is somebody jealous?
Emerl echoes Tails, asking if Sonic is jealous, which gets everybody laughing, except for Sonic. Amy steps out of her car in an outfit a few sizes too baggy on her, with a huge apron in front of her to block out her stomach for some reason. Sonic looks confused at Amy's style choices as Piccolo side-eyes him.
Sorry we're late, guys. There was a super huge sale this city, so we were out and I didn't get your message.
Hey, slow down, Ames. It's alright. This here is our new buddy, Emerald. Gohan found him underwater in Emerald Coast.
Hello, Emerl. It's so nice to meet you, sweetie.
Emerl echoes Amy, saying that it's nice to meet her too. Amy laughs, thinking he's adorable. Shadow gets out of the car, walking over to see what all the fuss is about.
Look at this little guy, Shadow. Isn't he cute?
Shadow and Emerl lock eyes, with Shadow stunned in absolute shock. Emerl doesn't say a word either.
Shadow, are you okay? What's the matter with you? Shadow, why are you making that face? You're scaring me. Shadow!
You! I'll destroy you with my bare hands!
Shadow, what the hell are you doing?
Shadow, back off, man! Have you lost your mind?
Get out of the way and give me that robot!
And if I say no?
Then I'll destroy you as well.
Shadow rushes in to move Sonic, with the two getting into a back and forth brawl.
Why does it always have to come to this with you? He hasn't even done anything!
He's done everything. He's a weapon. He's the reason I wasn't there for...
Shadow blasts Sonic in the face, launching him away. He teleports next to Emerl, blasting him into the air. Piccolo extends his limbs to grab Shadow, but Shadow blasts him off, flying into the air after Emerl. Emerl and Shadow engage in hand-to-hand combat, with Emerl being able to hold his own. The two fly through the city, clashing fists, with Sonic and the other Z fighters going off to stop him. Meanwhile...
Typho! That Typho, where the hell are you? There's a report on your stupid bandit camp. Typho! Fine, I'll answer it.
Jiro walks over to Eggman's abandoned station, pressing his controls to shut the alarm off, but it appears to be an emergency alert. He checks the cams of Eggman's badniks to see a brawl through the city. It appears to be Shadow, and Jiro gasps in shock.
No! It can't be! It's too soon!
Jiro runs as fast as he can into his hidden stasis pod to find his most hidden artifact. Emerl, who is still there? Sitting there, in his stasis pod, waiting to be released.
What? It's impossible. He's still out there. He's out there fighting Shadow. Doesn't make any sense. Is it a clone? It's too soon to deploy any of my other androids to investigate. I wouldn't even know about Emerl.
He has no idea how there's another Emerl here, but it appears to be the same one as his, and for some reason he feels that it is the same one. If it is, then world domination may be a lot closer than he thinks. Silver the Hedgehog and Trunks train together on the shores of Never Lake, keeping their powers suppressed but still training together to hone in their skills. Even though they're trapped in this time period, they're trying to make the most of it with what they got. They begin to sense a familiar energy flying towards them. Goku lands on the ground to greet them once more, with the two happy to see him again, but worried as well. Is there another villain that's showing up that they need their help with? Goku explains to the two about the appearance of a new robot that he found and that he took a picture of him to show him. He hands the picture over, saying that he thought it might be linked to that monster from before. As Trunks and Silver look down at the picture, they're immediately stunned as to who he's referring to.
That is another machine from our time. It was another weapon used by the androids, one of their most dangerous. It must have somehow honed into the Time Stone's energy and followed us back.
Silver grits his teeth, remembering all of the evil that Emerl caused in their time, especially with his mother.
He transformed my mother into a robotic monster, along with Knuckles and any innocent civilian that the android saw using. Don't let whatever he's pulling now fool you. He's a cold-blooded killer! We have to put a stop to him!
If he is as bad as you say, then I agree that he needs to be taken down. But with all of the robots I've taken down in my life, there was one who was good. His name was Ader. When I met Emerl, he reminded me of him a lot, especially the way he acts with Gohan. It reminds me of the adventures that Ader and I had. Maybe Emerl decided to finally break free of his programming, just like Ader did.
Trunks kinda gets a sense of what Goku's saying, though Silver is blinded by his hatred for Emerald. Suddenly, Goku can sense something. A gigantic battle. He puts his fingers on his forehead and senses back to the city. He senses Shadow engaged in combat with something he can't sense. Wait, could that be Emerald? Trunks and Silver can sense the battle as well, with them gritting their teeth. Trunks and Silver barrel off to go fight, with Goku trying to tell them that he could just teleport, but they're too far away. He sighs as he flies off after them. Shadow, Sonic, and Emerald continue their three-way clash throughout the city, with Sonic trying his best to get the two to stop, but they seem too engaged in fighting with each other. Sonic tries to get Emerald to stop, as Shadow's the one who started this and he can just back off, although Emerald seems so engaged in a combat with Shadow, almost as if he knows him as well. What is going on here? Even though Sonic has gotten a lot stronger in these years of training, Shadow has as well, and it seems that they're evenly matched in combat, with Shadow maybe being even a little bit stronger than him, at least enough to knock him away. However, Shadow is still grabbed and dragged away by Amy's telekinesis.
Shadow the Hedgehog, you stop this right now or we're through!
Emerald echoes that they're through and uses Amy's telekinesis to grab him and throw him away into a nearby building. Gohan rushes to Emerald's side, telling him they need to get out of here. Emerald looks at Gohan and agrees, and activates the Chaos Emerald inside himself to Chaos control him and Gohan away. Sonic looks on confused. He wasn't listening to him this whole time, but listened to Gohan? How are those two so connected? Shadow bursts out of the rubble, asking Amy where Emerald went. Amy looks on at him with tears in her eyes. She thought that he was past this kind of behavior. How could he act like this, especially at a time like this in their lives? Shadow looks at her, but all he can say is,
This is for Maria.
Shadow Chaos controls away as Amy breaks down crying, with the others trying to comfort her. Emerald and Gohan teleport into West City in Capsule Corp, where Gohan knows Bulma is keeping the Chaos Emeralds.
How did you know this is where the emeralds will be?
Emerald says that the emerald inside of him is calling out to the others. With the emeralds, he can finally be free. He'll be himself again. Gohan asks what's so bad about what he is now, as Emerald repeats that he is still incomplete, empty. He needs the emeralds to be himself. Gohan hasn't sensed any malice in Emerald so far, so brings him to the rest of the emeralds. Bulma doesn't really mind as she's a little bit preoccupied with somebody, and trusts Gohan to just go and take a look at him. As they head down to see the emeralds, Emerald feels their call to him. He lifts out his hands as the emeralds all swirl around him.
How do you feel? Are you, complete now?
As the emeralds surround Emerald, they all fly into him, with him beginning to glow. Not into any kind of super form though. He begins to glitch, his eyes beginning to flash from blue to red. Emerl shakes, with Gohan getting a little scared now. Suddenly, the two are chaos controlled away, with them appearing directly in Dr. Jiro's lab.
What the?
So, seems you really are my Emerald after all. How are there two of you? Ah, version from the future. You must have come back to bring me my success early. Exactly the kind of programming my future self would implement.
Who are you? What have you done with Emerald?
My name is Dr. Jiro, little Gohan.
Gohan is stunned by this. Dr. Jiro? Already? They're not supposed to hear from him in another year. Was Emerald really a bad guy from the start? He was a creation from Dr. Jiro?
Emerald, here's a gift I got from Gun after an unfortunate accident on board the space colony ark. He was deemed to be the ultimate weapon. I believed it after witnessing the footage myself of what he can do. That's why Gun wanted to wipe their hands clear of any responsibility and pawn him off to the Red Ribbon Army to take the blame. That's how Emerald came into my care. All these years I've been testing him to become the absolute greatest asset to the Red Ribbon Army. He was tasked with finding the 7 Chaos Emeralds and bringing them to me. I just never assumed it would be that simple. Come along, Emerald.
Jiro and Emerald walk over to Jiro's supercomputer and activate the transporter. Gohan gets up to try and stop them. However, Emerald uses Amy's telekinesis to smash him into the ground, holding him in place. He tells Gohan, in Jiro's voice, to stay there. All the Chaos Emeralds leave Emerald as he places them into the console, with the lab lighting up.
I guess you're the first one to pay for your friend's mistakes. Not how I thought I'd go about it, but I'll take what I can at this rate. With the emeralds in hand, I finally have enough power for my universal metal virus. Chaos Emeralds can finally launch it all over the world to transform its inhabitants into mindless androids. Even Eggman won't be safe from me anymore. Every one of my androids can gain power from the emeralds, and everything will finally be ruled under the Red Ribbon Army!
Emerald laughs along with Jiro as well, with Gohan screaming out and exploding out of his hold.
Emerald, this isn't you! Stop this now!
Gohan bursts over to punch Emerald in the face, with Emerald stumbling back and then turning to punch Gohan the same way. Gohan, surprisingly, doesn't budge, exploding in a golden energy. Screaming out, blasting a Masenko at Emerald, launching him away. He turns towards Jiro, growling, and rushes towards him to fight. Emerald Chaos controls in front of him and blasts at Gohan away with his own Masenko. Gohan flies back, slamming into the wall. Emerald tells Gohan that he can't beat him, so to give up. Gohan's anger continues to build, screaming out as he yells out Chaos Control with everything freezing around them. Emerald can't really compute this, as Gohan doesn't have any Chaos Emeralds. How is he manipulating time with Chaos Control? Gohan rockets towards Emerald as the two get into a fist fight, clashing. The two fly through the lab, destroying gigantic chunks of it, blowing out android parts all over the place. As time returns, Jiro yells out, as to him, his lab was completely decimated in an instant. He goes to accelerate the power to quickly put a stop to this now, to transform the world into his personal slaves. However, the emeralds in the console begin to flicker, with power suddenly being drained from the main machine. Jiro yells out as he tries to fix it, but the emeralds aren't responding to him anymore. Emerald can sense that the one with the power in the room isn't Jiro anymore. It's Gohan. His programming finally takes hold of him once again, with the main link he established with Gohan returning as it senses the true main power in the room. He was programmed to link with an individual to gain their trust, their powers, their emotions, and a heart of his own. He was starting to get that with this boy, somebody with the most amount of chaos energy that he's ever felt. He was originally linked to Shadow the Hedgehog in the Space Colony Arc. The two were both created as weapons, with only him used as one, though Shadow understood him. However, his true destructive programming always took hold, as his true purpose was always to destroy. The torture that Gerald, Robotnik, and Gun put him through all those years finally took over, and he killed many that day, and was the indirect cause for Maria's death. The military tried to cover his existence up and pawned him off to the Red Ribbon, where the full extent of his power could be realized by Dr. Jiro. Dr. Jiro worked on Emerl for many years, trying to perfect him to become the ultimate killing machine. And in his timeline, that was realized. Emerl and his metal virus were activated, and he was unleashed along with the androids to destroy humanity. However, in one of humanity's final days, he witnessed incredible chaos energy. He had been in proximity to the most powerful chaos being in existence. However, this one man yielded pure chaos energy never felt before. Not as powerful as his current master, but the pure chaos energy was unrivaled. So unrivaled that it separated his link from the android and created a new link with this man. However, he was killed. Due to his own lack of chaos energy, he lay dormant. He eventually was able to sense a way to change everything around him, the power of the time stones. He attempted to go back in time to stop everything, but due to having no more energy to move, he's been lying around in rot for the past years. Until the same man with that incredible chaos energy awakened him, this time as a young boy, and was able to show him the kindness that humanity can offer. He was able to save lives, seeing people not run in fear from him, but cheer out for him and call out his name. He had become more than his programming. He had finally become more than a weapon of destruction. But after all the evil that he's done, and will most likely continue to do, he can't let Gohan and his friends die. Not after all of the kindness that they've shown him. He won't let him suffer the same fate as his future self. Emerald turns on Jiro and blasts him away, and grabs onto the emeralds, which are currently overloading the system and threatening to destroy everything around him. The machine has gotten too much chaos energy and is about to erupt, with the entire world about to be covered in the metal virus. Gohan asks Emerl what they can do now, with Emerl turning to his friend and saying,
Gohan, thank you for showing me kindness I did not deserve. You are the future of humanity, and my friend, thank you for bringing me back.
Emerl pours his energy into the machine to reverse the flow of the energy to blast not on the planet, but only on this location. Emerl sticks out his hand to chaos control Gohan away, with Gohan yelling out for Emerl to stop. However, it's too late. Gohan disappears as the metal virus blast explodes onto the lab, detonating everything around them, with Emerl sacrificing himself for humanity. Gohan appears back in Tails' lab, sobbing and burned. Goku, Trunks, and Silver have arrived and rush over, attempting to help him to his feet.
Gohan, what happened to Emerl?
Gohan just stares on at his father, then buries his face in his lap, crying out that he's gone, but he saved them all. Trunks and Silver are taken aback and just look at each other. After a long time of crying, Gohan explains everything that happened to the group, and how Emerl just saved them all from Jiro.
If Jiro's gone already, then that means the androids may not be as powerful as they would have been in our time.
I don't think Eggman's gonna be happy about the loss of his partner.
We'll worry about him in a year's time. For now, Emerl helped save the world. A dangerous killing machine designed to destroy the world saved it instead. What did I tell you to? He came through in the end. He sacrificed himself for the world, just like me all those years ago. Perhaps him and I had more in common than I believed.
If you ever act up like that again, especially with you-know-who on the way, oh, Shadow, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you!
Silver and Trunks stare ahead. Emerl, the mass-murdering machine from their future, really saved humanity? Jiro, at the last second, managed to teleport himself away with his last emergency chaos drive he got from Eggman. As he collects himself from almost dying, he curses at all the research he lost with the rogue Emerl. He looks on at the Emerl in stasis who was transported to his lab with him. He's gonna make sure that this one isn't like that blasted old one. He's gonna make sure that this Emerl will listen to him, that this one will be his. Jiro then begins his work to fully reprogram Emerl to turn him into his own android. Days later, Eggman returns to the new lab.
What the devil happened to the lab in the East District Zone? Trust me, I prefer the main Death Egg laboratory, but what could have happened to reduce the lab to that state? We could have lost everything.
Perhaps if you hadn't disappeared for days on end without a word, none of that would have ever happened. It was a mishap with my experimental creation.
The one Shadow was battling on the news. You know about the Gizoids?
Jiro reluctantly reveals Emerald's blueprints and how he's been working on him ever since he was delivered to the Red Ribbon Army. Eggman goes on about how he read about the Gizoid in his grandfather's diary. He found a couple in the Space Colony Ark, and even out in space with the Nocturnus clan. If Jiro had let him in on this one, then he could have turned him into the mightiest machine of all time from the start. Allow him to now join in on his new reprogramming, starting with a new name. He's thinking Gemerl will differentiate him from the old model. Jiro agrees, allowing Eggman to join in the designs as they continue to put together their plans. Although he finds it odd how Eggman glossed past the fact that there were 2 Emeralds. Shouldn't that have raised some alarms for him? Eggman seems to just ignore it though, going on that maybe this one just cloned itself. He's dealt with a couple clones before. Jiro decides Eggman is a fool for not caring, going on to wonder about it himself, and to put his own programming into Gemerl. Eggman just chuckles as he looks down at his Time Stone.
If only you knew the things I did, Jiro, about our future.
Eggman slips his Time Stone away as him and Jiro continue to set up their plans. It's a good thing he sent Orbot and Cubot to Never Lake to investigate Trunks and Silver to see if they had any more Time Stones with them. Orbot was the only one to return, with him saying the future warriors took out Cubot, but he managed to get away with this one for his father. As with this Time Stone, he could discover the hidden powers of his androids. Eggman wondered why Orbot became smart and obedient all of a sudden, but just accepted it. He has gone on to use the stone to see portals into the future behind Jiro's back. With his new future vision, perhaps he could create the ideal world that he wants. As he laughs, Orbot slips away, shape-shifting back into his true form.
Have fun with the upgrades, Father. I'm going to need them.